cost of governance, Tinubu slashes delegation for FG's trips by 60%.
Oh, this is nice to hear, but it's long in coming, but better late than never. So the president has directed that all the entourage to state and international events be drastically reduced by 60%, which is quite commendable. According to him, the vice president, this was revealed by Ngelale, who's a special advisor to the president on media. According to him, the vice president the president will travel with only 20 officials, as against 50 in the past. The vice president will also now travel with 5 officials, while the first lady and wife of the vice president will travel with only 5 officials. For local trips, Ngelale said the number of the entourage of the president had been reduced to 25, the vice president 15, and the first lady and wife of the vice president 10. The presidential spokesman said the essence of the reduction was to bring total sanity. I like that word. To bring sanity, and prudence to management of resources. So my assumption is that we are going to have various cost-cutting measures across the board in governance. And I think there should be a directive also to, there's that for the ministers, but the MDA, SPAMSEX, whatever, across the board, we also need to look at our protocol, the protocol that we tend to follow. For example, I don't see any need every time the president travels for all the ministers, the service chiefs, all of to go when he's going meet him at the airport. We need to cut a lot of these protocols that we do have. Cut a lot of events that are completely unnecessary to the minimum. But it's good that the first step has been taken. Why I'm also happy about this is that our work has not been in vain here. For those who thought that we've been highly critical, and so we are the winners here today because we now know the value of criticism. And I hope it now shows that the government itself is listening to us, and probably they might not want to appreciate the kind of things that come from, not just, I don't mean this station alone, but from the media in general. Now we're beginning, it's a bit of a slow inch, but hopefully this would help us trim a lot of things that we are doing. And it says there's another thing that I found quite significant. The official trips that will be taken within the country, Mr. President or the Vice President to any state within the country, the massive bills that accrue to allowances and extra code for security details coming from Abuja into these states will be massively cut to the directive of the President. The security outfits within the states, be it the DSS or branches of the military, will be in the front line when he travels to these states. So if he's coming to Lagos, he's not going to be coming with a whole, retinue of military and this and that. He will use the local policemen here.
That's right.
I mean, that makes sense.
That's right.
That makes sense. So the benefit of this really is that we now know that somebody is thinking. We now know that somebody is observing all the criticisms. So let's keep at it. Okay? Call in people, call in listeners, and let's all keep at it. Once we have any idea, we bring it to the fore. And hopefully, at some point, we will get we'll get some respite. And, yeah. So that's what it is. You wanted to ask me something?
No, not at all. I just wanted to say that it's one thing for the president to say this. It's another thing for his loyalists to act otherwise.
Oh, yes. If you remember...
because they will think that they want to please him, and they will do everything and anything to please him.
Well, that's always been the problem of any leader. The gang of sycophants and whatever, both near him and outside.
Right.
Yeah, the gang of persons who don't know that they're perpetrating evil. You keep pushing a man. You push him. Yeah, what he has done is good. Yes. He carries the can. Something must have happened Somebody must have alerted the president to some of these things. To say, look, you can't continue like this. I hope this will also go to the parastatals and many more organizations within the president needs to sit back and review, how ministers and whatever operate. For instance, he needs to caution the man. I'm going back again to Wiki. Those who feel that I don't like him, that's their headache. I will not allow, as an adult, bad things happen in my country that will be setting a bad example for the young ones. And by the way, this is a quick aside. I'd like to call on Governor Sanwo-Olu and other top Lagos State and indeed concerned citizens to put some control on the behavior of our so-called traditional rulers. It's becoming ridiculous. And all you hear is that I discussed this with the top APC chieftain some time ago. I keep sending him clips that I see. I think he's just tired because he too seems to be overwhelmed. But the government needs to intervene. The governor needs to summon these so-called, I call them so-called because some of them are not even identifiable, but that's another story. But they need to give them a code of conduct. It's becoming ridiculous. And if you claim that they are, if you claim the basis for their existence is because they are the closest to the community, a lot of them are setting a very bad example to the younger ones. If you don't nip these things in the bud, this thing is going to consume us. You have a traditional ruler, bundles of money using a neck chain of notes to spray a musician in public. I mean, that's not... It's not something that you pretend doesn't exist, and you need to nip it in the bud. So back to this one before I go astray. I think, yes, it's quite commendable.
Sorry to butt in. The reason I said that is because when Ajuri himself was at that press conference, and he said something that struck a chord. He said something like, if you think, this directive is coming straight from the president. He didn't have to say that, but he had to say that because, of course, of what I said. There would be some people, either his loyalists, either civil servants or something, that would think that packing people behind the president is the way to show that they are for his renewed hope agenda, sponsoring people to go with the president. They will say that it's not government's money. It's their money.
The person to blame for that is the chief of staff. He needs to sit to the ground. I would have preferred if a seasoned retired civil servant was the chief of staff. My cousin doesn't know what it is to be chief of staff. You don't keep following the president everywhere. It's an executive job. It's not a political job. You don't make a politician do. I said it, you remember when it was up. You don't appoint, if you want to get some mileage, you need a seasoned administrator. And I don't think my cousin, to the best of my knowledge, he's been a lawyer. He's been lawyer stroke politician almost all his life. This is not to bring him down. Of course not. But if you need to move ahead and have, you need a seasoned. Who was Obasanjo's chief of staff? Was a retired PAM secretary. I've forgotten his name. This ethic man. You hardly saw him. So once you have an administrator, that's what the chief of staff is. He'll have a way from shelving all this political whatever. The chief of staff himself, because he's a politician order, he keeps looking over his back. And he keeps having to be in the eye of the president that he's going to this conference, if go with him. No. A chief of staff should be somebody who run, he just get the job done. Look at when Fashola was chief of staff to him in Lagos. Yeah. We didn't even know, who he was.
To be honest, yeah.
To be honest. It's not a job for the problem that this president has is that he's using public offices as a whatever of patronage to his friends and political allies. This country won't move forward if you continue to do that. That is why I'm sure it was like, you hear now.
Exactly. It was like bringing it into people's ears.
Yes, because I look at the other day, so embarrassing the history of this country for a president to have to announce in public that nobody nobody should be seen at the Federal Executive Council meeting. And he said his son, but apparently it might not be just his son. And so what you might have is that the all these people would bully those around him. but if he had and he allowed his chief of staff to get the work done like he did when he was governor of Lagos, it'd be much better. But I still commend him for this initiative in all honesty.